Hi, this is a quick tutorial on how to do a reference check, but also how to choose which questions to add to the reference check. We've been doing reference checks for about 15 years, and prior to that, I had another 5 years experience doing reference checks. So it can be considered a bit of an art form, but definitely having a system is pretty important in digging down, finding out what exactly somebody did in their role, what difficulties or challenges they might have overcome or not overcome, and help make a decision whether or not to hire a candidate for your company or your employer if you're a recruiter. So what I always suggest is make sure to sit down with the hiring manager and find out why the role is vacant, who is really successful person in the role, and if there was somebody who just left the role, quit, or was fired, what things were they not able to do. So really make sure to add questions based on that information. And we always use templates at Red Seal Recruiting, so we're not having to start by scratch. And here's just a general one. I really like to start by really figuring out who the reference check is for and who's doing the reference. Getting things like their phone number documented and their work email address is pretty important, because you'd be surprised at how many people give, let's say, false references, expecting either that references will not be done or possibly somebody can cover for them. So actually getting a corporate email address or a work email address is actually a good part of the process. Thanking the person who did the reference by email, always a good practice, because they're taking the time out of the day to hopefully help you. Yeah, so really digging deep onto what the relationship is right off the bat, just to make sure that you don't do a reference check and find out this person didn't supervise them or actually was a coworker or a friend. You really want to figure out what the relationship is right off the bat, so you can cut it short if you realize this person didn't actually directly supervise them or wasn't a manager with them under them. Digging into their duties and responsibilities, and then getting specific. What was the last project they worked on, and what was their role in that? Trying to get an idea if this is a person who just does the bare minimum or really goes above and beyond is really important. Once you've got a few of those kind of figured out, it might be important to go back, find out, and have tailored questions for what the hiring manager, your client, your internal client, what they're looking for, what had worked out, what didn't work out with the last person, just so you don't have to end up filling this role again in 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months. Because if you can really do a diligent reference check and find out if this person is well suited ahead of time, it can really help your organization. And also finding those little nuggets of information about further training and development that somebody would recommend for this person, because you want them to succeed, and you can't expect everybody to start on the job and be 100% suited and ready and able to do the job, because most top people are looking for a challenge and need a little bit of coaching, assistance, or training to get them up to speed. And really trying to dig in to interpersonal conflicts, things like safety, really good things to look at. And one of our favorite questions is, if you had the opportunity to rehire, would you? And would you for the same role or a better role? And I often like to change this question around and say, would you hire them to work on your direct team again? Because if this person is super happy and doesn't hesitate with that question and says, yeah, I want to spend 40, 50 hours a week with this person, that's a pretty good sign of they're interpersonal, but hopefully that they'll pull their weight and really be successful. So that's how I suggest you put together a reference check. Make sure you've got the format and set it. So you can really compare. We had 2 outstanding candidates for a role recently, and I could compare the references and how they went between the two, because we've got that format set rather than doing things informally and just asking questions. Great to go back as well, because sometimes you have to revisit your hiring process if a candidate declines or something interrupts the process. If you have any questions, please comment below, and yeah, I hope this helps you, and feel free to drop us a quick email and ask for a reference check form if you're just trying to build one for your organization.